Hello, everyone. My name is Bob Mulligan, and I'm the Boys Director of Coaching for Blaine Soccer Club. I would like to welcome you all to our Get to Know Coach series. Previously, we've just done this on the website, but during the pandemic and just the lack of interaction with you guys, we thought we'd turn this into a video series. With me each week will be my editor, my producer, my co-host, my supervisor, basically everything I can't do, Miss Tori Burnett.
Hello, everybody.
We're both really excited about this here. I'm just really excited for you guys to get to know our coaches a little bit better. I personally think we have the best coaches in the state. They do some fantastic work, and recently I think they've done some of the best. So before we introduce our first coach, Tori, do you have anything to add?
Not a whole lot. You covered most of it. Just for a little bit of background on Miss Clara Webby. She is from California, so she's our resident cool Cali girl, as we call her. I'm just kidding. I'm the only one that calls her that. She played all her life. She'll tell us more about that in a second, but she played at McAllister College just down the road for 4 years. She was a rock star center back, and she has been with Blaine since October.
October. And with that there, I would just like to introduce you to Blaine Soccer Club's very own Miss Kelly O'Hara, Clara Webby. Yeah.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Good. Clara, how are you today?
I'm doing well. It's raining, which is unfortunate, but no better day to do a podcast.
How have you been coping with, working from home and just basically the whole lockdown situation?
Yeah, it's been an adjustment for sure, but really grateful. The kids have been great through all of this and enthusiastic, getting outside, doing what they can. So, and the coaching staff has been communicating really well. So it's been an interesting challenge, but one that I think everyone is up for.
And how about personally? Have you learned anything about yourself? Started anything new? Anything at all?
Well, I think before this all started, I was kind of getting into cooking a little bit more, but now I'm like full chef Clara mode. Yeah, so that's been it's been really fun. Although I FaceTime my mom almost every night trying to come up with the recipe, but that's all right.
What's the tastiest thing that you've concocted thus far?
Oh, last night we made a niçoise salad. With roasted, it's a French salad that has tuna and all these roasted vegetables like potatoes, green beans, cherry tomatoes. Yeah.
Perfect. So we've established that Clara will be a master chef by the end of this year. Awesome. All right. So we're going to start this off with the same question we're going to ask every coach, and then we're just going to take it from there. So Clara Webby, what is your first soccer memory?
My first soccer memory, besides what everybody's soccer memory is, which is snacks, is I used to, so my parents and I'm an only child, and we would travel a lot. And when I was really young, since I was a baby, actually, we would travel to Paris. And me and my dad would bring one of those Nerf foam soccer balls to the park. And we just remember for 3 hours every morning, we would have these epic battles to see who won. And then he used to kind of push me to, obviously it's France and there's a lot of little kids playing soccer as well. So he would nudge me to get into these groups full of 6-year-old French boys, and I couldn't speak French. They didn't know any English, and we would just battle it out for the entire morning. And I think it gave me a lot of confidence and was an interesting kind of step in my soccer career when I look back on a moment where I was absolutely terrified, but learning experience for sure.
Perfect. That's cool. I'm not surprised that you jumped in with the boys and kicked butt. So
how good is your French now? How good is your French now?
I studied abroad there a couple years ago, so it's better. I'd say I can understand it fluently, if you can understand fluently, but my speaking is not great anymore.
All I know is bonjour, je m'appelle Bob. Ça va?
That's all you need to know. Ça va?
Je joue au foot.
There you go.
I learned a wee bit of French in school, obviously. It's not as good as yours.
I have no idea what you guys are saying.
So when was your first like maybe not you could say rec slash competitive experience?
Yeah, so I actually played not a rec, but we called it select in California. I played for a select club in San Francisco called SF United for a large portion of my career. I played it there until I was, I'd say, freshman year of high school. So what is that, 14? But yeah, so I played there a while. Of course, I played in sort of youth rec leagues. Of course, I remember I played on one team called the North Beach Wild Parrots, one of the best mascots of all time. And yeah, I was kind of nudged after that by my high school coach and by some of my high school friends to start considering moving to the more premier soccer club in the area, which is called Marin FC. So yeah, I think it was sophomore year of high school. I decided to make the move. Yeah.
So so you obviously you grew up in Northern California. What town?
What?
Which town did you grow up in?
Oh, I grew up in San Francisco. My parents moved out to Silicon Valley area when I went to college. So San Francisco my whole life, although I was born in New York City and lived there for 3 years.
That's very interesting. You should have started with that. So what was your standard like in Northern California at that time?
Yeah, there was a really thriving soccer community, I would say for sure. Um, a lot of my friends were considering playing in college. I remember in my club at Marin FC, the older team had, I think it was every single girl but one went Division 1, some of the top schools. My team, not so much. Only a couple of us ended up playing college at all, but it was really, really fun. I remember in high school, girls soccer was the best sport by far. I went to a high school with 450 kids, so it was really small, but our girls soccer team kicked booty. And that was just awesome. And I think that carries on to McAllister, my experience there as well, where soccer was definitely one of the better sports in the school. And it's such an amazing feeling to be able to play in front of a big crowd and be well known by your teachers and have sort of that vibrant community of soccer was really special.
I'm only starting to figure this out now. I like back in with 2013 maybe. I like coached in Burlingame at like AYSO. Wonder if I ever like coached against you. Do you ever play against
Maybe.
Burlingame?
Oh yeah, for sure. Burlingame Breakers? No,
Yeah, that was their select, and they had is it gold? What's the other one?
I don't remember.
I think it's
Maybe.
yeah.
You would have
Actually, we knew
remembered
each
me
other
though.
before this happened.
Yeah, you would have remembered
You would
a
have
center
remembered
back that you couldn't get around, and you had to figure out ways to get up the flanks for sure.
That may have been the case. So like back then, Northern California playing for Maroon FC, were you always a defender, or did you start off high and work your way back? Or how did
Yeah.
you?
I played goalie for a while until my coach decided that he actually I was much better with my feet than my hands. And so I played center back for a little while, and then I played center back in high school as well, all 4 years. For my club, I played center back and then the 6, kind of just switched back and forth, whatever was necessary for the team at the time. But yeah, true defender for sure.
Did you always enjoy it, or did you ever want to be like that Alex Morgan type player and get all the praise, score all the goals?
Yeah, I think every defender kind of wants the same type of recognition that a lot of forwards get, especially when it's not as quantifiable, to measure your level of success when you're a defender versus being able to tally up your goals. But I always went forward on corners and set pieces because I was pretty good in the air. So I still found my moments.
I think one thing, Clara, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, even though there's a massive age disparity between you and I think, we're quite good friends, we're quite close, and we have a lot in common. I guess I do things in common with 21-year-olds. one thing I think it is, that kind of, brings us together is we're both really, really competitive people. We both hate to lose. Have you always been competitive? Was it back when you were in France, playing with the boys and then carried through? When did that start, or are you hearing this for the first time?
No, I've always been highly competitive. I think a lot of it was, we have this running joke in my family that me and my dad are the most outwardly competitive, but my mom is like secretly the most competitive person I have ever met. She grew up in Indiana and she was like an all-state basketball player, had some knee injuries and didn't move forward with it, but her and my dad play tennis now, and it ruins her day when she does not win. And she is just the most competitive person. But my dad kind of taught me that competitiveness when I was really, really young. We would have little like swarms of concerned parents hovering around our 1v1 battles because we would be so physically aggressive with each other. And it really taught me a lot. I mean, I talk about how I was good in the air, but realistically, we sat on a field together and he would just throw balls at my head until I would learn to open my eyes and actually do it with good form. Yeah, but I definitely owe 100% of my competitiveness to my parents and my dad, because he was with me every step of the way.
For you guys watching at home, if you're on Clara's team and you're not trying hard during a soccer game, you are in trouble. There is one coach that will not be named, but he is definitely on her blacklist. So, Clara, one thing I've noticed, you're moving from Northern Ireland to the US. Everyone here is a multi-sport athlete, and that's something I really quite can't fathom. Did we ever lose you, or were we ever close to losing you to another sport?
Not really, no. I played basketball a little bit when I was younger, but I remember playing soccer year-round since I was probably 10. So, yeah.
That's exactly what
but a lot of my friends are multi-sport athletes, and I think everyone to a certain extent grows up playing multiple sports, but I definitely stuck to soccer year-round.
Good. Glad to hear that there. No offense to any multi-sport athletes. I love you all. So, whenever you finished high school, you obviously had a massive decision to make, and it was what college you're going to. This is something like I really respect people for doing. Like, you went massively out of your comfort zone. You went from beautiful Silicon Valley, California, to Minnesota, the coldest place in the world during the winter. So, like, first of all, why Minnesota? Second of all, what was it about McAllister that really drew you to it?
Yeah, so I think a lot of my relationship with McAllister, so Mac was my top choice, 100%. A lot of it had to do with things just going right, little things. I think it's interesting as the college application process is going on, I've been talking with a lot of family friends or friends about why McAllister, and my experience I feel like is so unique in that I happened to be visiting on a really beautiful day, which helped for sure. Just little things that went right. Like I had an amazing overnight visit with the soccer team, watched a game, got along really well with the team. So just a lot of choosing the college for me was just the feeling that I got when I was there, which is so unique to everybody and is, I think, a really important part of the process. So yeah, I mean, I wasn't there. I didn't get to experience it when it was freezing cold. But I'd say that I've been adapted. I mean, I live here now, so it can't be that bad. But it's not even the cold. It's just like the length of the winter and how it can get boring, especially when I'm talking with my parents and seeing what outside looks like. But yeah, it's just, and I just love the people here. I think everybody in Minnesota is fairly nice, energetic, enthusiastic, and there's like this love for the outdoors that I really appreciate.
Well, definitely, I moved here, so I obviously agree with you.
Yep, same.
So whenever you first started, how was the adjustment going from California to here and going from, essentially like being in high school to being very independent of yourself? You've got to manage your schooling, you got to manage your soccer, you got to manage one of the best assistant coaches at McAllister ever.
Yeah, I'd say it was actually a pretty seamless transition. Being on the team was just incredible. That adds like this instant structure into your schedule that a lot of non-student athletes don't necessarily get, right? That instant group of friends, your schedule is basically set up for you in a similar way that it might be for some athletes in high school, going from school to practice, you know, to your homework time, that type of structure. Yeah, so I'd say the transition in that sense wasn't that difficult. I think I was lucky in that I went to a very similar kind of a step down from McAllister. I like to say that McAllister was my high school on steroids. So there was a lot of kind of similarities between the two, and the type of person that went there, the type of classes that are taught. I knew instantly before I came to McAllister, I knew that I wanted to major in international studies. So I was the first freshman to declare a major because I declared, I think, the second day of class because I just knew. So
Classic.
yeah. But yeah.
For you guys that don't know, Clara, I think, is the youngest member of our coaching team, but she's also the most intelligent by an absolute mile.
Yeah,
So
by
that
far.
doesn't surprise me in the
Aw.
slightest that she declared after a second day. Now, so with
Clara-
that move, obviously I've sort of done the same thing. I'm not afraid to admit that I've definitely been homesick at times. Was there ever a time where you've been homesick, and what did you do to get over that?
Yeah, I think everybody that goes far away for college or for life definitely gets homesick. I'm definitely lucky in that my mom's a flight attendant, so she does take advantage of that occupation to come visit once in a while. And my parents actually, well, my mom's from the Midwest, so they recently just got a little apartment in Chicago, I think partly to be close to me. At least I hope so. So that's been really nice just to take advantage of that. Exploring a new city with my parents has been really fun, but just constant communication. I think it's funny when kids in high school want nothing to do with their parents. And then I realized very quickly freshman year that your parents are like your lifeline. So I just had no shame in talking to them every week, every couple days, and making sure to FaceTime them lots, and having no shame in being outwardly obsessed with my parents, which I think I also get from being an only child, because I don't have like those siblings to connect me to them. Like they are my parents and my siblings in some way. So
It helps that your parents are pretty cool too.
it does help.
So moving on, sticking with McAllister, but focusing more on soccer now. How many seasons did you play there?
I was on the team for 4 seasons, but I only played for 3.
How were your 3 seasons, and how was Coach Tori the most influential part of your soccer development?
I also, within this, I want you to brag about yourself.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. Yeah. So, my 3 seasons, I would say, could not probably have gone any better. I was fortunate in that a spot in the back line was open when I was there. So I started every game that I could play in throughout all 3 years. My freshman year, I was named honorable mention to the All MIAC team, and then I got on the first team for the next 2 years and first team all region as well, which was really, really awesome.
For the listeners at home that don't know how big of a deal that is, that means she was in the top 11 players in the entire Midwest region. So that's including 8 states, that she was the best center back in 8 states. So pretty darn cool.
Yeah, and I think the MIAC is so incredible and so special that it's such a competitive space, and it's also fairly convenient and accessible when it comes to transportation and getting around from school to school. So I loved it, and soccer was like my life for that fall season. I was extremely excited for my senior season, especially knowing that we had like this incredible coaching staff coming in. So Tori and Crystal were coming. both with these insane backgrounds, both center backs, both women. I mean, I was in heaven. Unfortunately, I had a season-ending injury within the first month. But in many ways, I do look back on that experience, and I think it taught me two things. I mean, I was able to build a relationship with the coaching staff that I don't think I necessarily would have had if I was playing, you know, a little bit more communication, helping sort of growing my friendships with team members and being able to provide some insight into how the team was doing, what the team looked like in previous years, you know, so kind of helping them as much as I could to get this season off on the right foot and start building this team. So that was really great. It also, what I would say, is one of the biggest reasons that I decided to get into coaching. I think you'll probably find that a good portion of coaches were players with some sort of season-ending injury or some sort of injury that kind of took them away from the game earlier than they wanted it to. And so I just felt like I wasn't done yet. I wasn't ready to leave the game, and so happy I did not.
Same.
So, obviously you moved on. I believe Tori recruited you straight out of McAllister to come and work with Blaine Soccer Club. Was that an easy choice, or did it take some convincing?
I'd say that was a really easy choice for me. I think I knew I wanted to be a coach. So I guess I can answer that question better by going back to the start of my coaching career. I think it was it was the summer before my senior year that I started coaching at a local club. And I kind of just did it because I was coming back from abroad and I didn't really have a job lined up and I wanted something to do. I had a fellow friend from the men's soccer program at McAllister who was also a coach. And so I was his assistant, made basically no money the entire summer, but just could not get over how much fun I was having. And I was playing with the girls, you know, they were 17 or 16 at the time. And so I was playing with them. I was building connections. I was doing camps. And I just started to think, like, is this a real thing that people can do, is coach kids and make it your career and your profession? And as I wrapped up my senior year of college, I had always kind of been interested in the human rights world. That was kind of my thing. I went to the UN in Geneva when I was abroad and worked for a human rights institution, and went to Stanford for a semester to do a human rights program there. And that was kind of the path. But I felt like this really deep connection to coaching, and that almost felt like it exemplified the human rights, but kind of in action, like female empowerment and empowering kids and building confidence in kids. And I felt like the lessons that sports gave me were so valuable, and I wanted to give that to kids as well, and particularly young girls who might not find it from other areas of their life. So yeah, that kind of click happened for me, and I knew I wanted to coach. And then hearing that there was a full-time staff in Blaine, Minnesota, where, you know, Tori had a busy schedule, which sometimes doesn't happen for youth soccer coaches. You only have this like 5 to 7 chunk where they get to work their magic. So having that full-time schedule, I got to experience the business side of a club, which I think is super important, and teaches you those lessons, right, of how to have time management, be organized, and sort of building these teams. Obviously, coaching 4 teams, you get a ton of coaching experience, which is really important for me. And yeah, I mean, obviously my senior year of college, I really looked up to Tori, and I think was like, I want to be her. So anything she was doing, I was like, how could this be a wrong decision? So it's worked out pretty well, I'd say.
Brilliant. And how have you enjoyed, first of all, working with the full-time staff and then working with the 08 girls?
Oh yeah, shout out the 08 girls and the 03 girls. But it's been amazing. I mean, it's not easy Bob, I was coming right after you. Could it have been a more difficult transition? The world's greatest, the GOAT of youth soccer.
Definitely not.
So I came in mid-season, took this team. I mean, I really just wanted to gain their trust, and they're like sponges, and they have a great time. So that was really, really fun. But working with a full-time staff has been incredible. I mean, obviously you get nervous. You don't want to ask too many questions. There's a lot about the system that you don't know, but being able to work with the staff pretty much every single day, I just got more and more comfortable asking those questions, and people were so willing to help me out, which is just amazing. I mean, that's like the greatest culture you can build as a staff, is just being open and being honest and having this really good line of communication where questions get answered and, people are feeling comfortable. So I instantly felt comfortable. And I think the culture building and the sort of staff building that we do together as a team, whether it's staff games or coach ed, the staff meetings we have weekly, just little stuff like that, is so important for making us feel comfortable as a group, and then being able to translate that to the kids on the field. It makes that so seamless.
I think specifically talking about the 08 girls, I know that group quite well. Like, I can say they absolutely adore you. They love having a girl coach. They basically, you said jump, they say how high. Like, you have a massive influence on them, and as a director of coaching, it's absolutely fantastic to see. What do you think is like the biggest influence you've had on those girls since you started?
Yeah, I think something that was drilled into me, and that is I was actually kind of thinking about this the other day, is like, what is my coaching identity? And I think the biggest thing that I hope I have an influence on them is just about resiliency and effort. I think those are like my top two, is like, what do you do when things get hard? What's your response? And then, like, are you giving 110% of your effort into everything? And they've been really incredible and taking that challenge on. I think sometimes when I remember when I was young, and we'd sort of go through the motions in practice without having that like mind-body connection. Am I giving it 110%, even if I'm just going to go get the soccer ball that went off in the field, and the kids have been really, really great and taking that on, and holding each other accountable, which is always awesome. I think you guys would agree as a coach, when you see the kids communicating your ideas to each other without you having to step in, that's like next level. So yeah, that's when
Kobe right there.
All right, we're going to finish off with questions for Clara. We're going to do this with every coach, so they're pretty quick fire. If we want to stop and talk about something, we will. Okay, so to begin with, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food is tuna avocado sushi.
Clara likes weird
Such
food.
Such a California answer. Gosh.
Your favorite TV show?
The Office.
Only answer.
Yeah.
Is there anything you're binge watching at the minute during this lockdown?
The Office. Or
only answer.
Yeah, the Michael Jordan documentary is really good. Been watching
The Last Dance. Very good. Sunday night.
Watched Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist as well, right?
What?
No? Did you watch that? Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist?
I've never even heard of that.
Oh, I thought you watched that. Oh, I must have dreamt that. All right. Next one. Favorite type of music?
My favorite type of music, I would say, is just like pop. But my favorite artist or band is the Dixie Chicks. Top, best. Yeah.
Well, the other day, Katie and I were driving in the car, and Wide Open Spaces came on, and we were just singing at the top of our lungs, and I was thinking of you.
Oh,
it's a classic.
It's a classic.
Have you ever made a TikTok video?
I have not, but the 08 girls are trying to get me to learn the Renegade dance, but that's old news now. Renegade's over, so I've given up, essentially.
That was last year, Webby.
I know.
Get with it.
Will you ever make a TikTok video?
Probably.
Yeah, you heard it here, folks. Heard it here first, folks. Clara will make a TikTok video and we will post it for you. If you could be any of the Avengers, which one would you be?
Thor. Is he an Avenger?
Yes, Thor is an Avenger. Clara gave me a hard time in front of the O3 girls because Captain America was my favorite. But they all agreed with me that Cap is the best.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Who's your favorite soccer player?
My favorite
Me.
soccer player is, besides myself and Tori and Bob, is Julie Ertz, I would say. I was it's two. It's her, and then when I was really young, it was kind of my dad inflicted this on me, was Carlos Puyo. I think, do you know who that is? Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, so I feel like my favorite players are like the gritty, like no frills players. So yeah, that's what I would say Puyo and Julie Ertz have in common, and those are all-time favorites.
Okay, so big question. I think this is going to be the most controversial part
Drum roll.
of the interview series. We're going to ask each coach to pick a 7v7 team using the Blaine Soccer Club coaches. You can choose yourself, or you don't have to. Clara,
Just so
go
everyone
first.
knows at home, we actually do play every week. I mean, not right now, obviously from the pandemic, but before all this happened, we actually have coach games where we kind of just mix up the teams, and we've been keeping score, and it's actually gotten like really, really intense. So yeah, we actually know who's good and who's not. So this is gonna be interesting.
Okay, I would say my philosophy behind choosing is like a mixture of like obviously the best players, but also the people that somehow manage to be like top of the list or top of the rankings every week. So that's kind of like my thought process.
Deb.
Yes.
Deb's up there all the time.
So Jake Borash in goal. This requires no explanation. Okay, Tori and I in the back. I'm playing a 1-2-3-1. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. 1-2-3-1.
There's three.
So yeah, us two in the back. I would do Jared, Bryce, Scott McLeod, and Deb in the
midfield.
And then I can't not have Bob up top, right? Bob needs to, but for two reasons, right? Because he's obviously the best, and second, because if he's not on my team, then he's scary and I can't play against him.
Then you have to then we have to defend him. I don't want to defend him.
That's important consideration.
Yeah.
Okay, and Clara, I'm going to put you as captain of that team.
Thanks.
That should be the first team back. I would really like to play on that team. I think
like that
Tori and
team.
you would be solid at the back. Good communication, good partnership. Jared would
I like
be
that
like
formation
that
too.
type number 6. Scott's obviously that old school, knows everything there is about soccer and can, like, with a drop of his shoulder, send a defender the wrong way. Deb is that workhorse type player, that Julie Ertz player that you really like. And she always wins.
My new thing for Deb is a heat-seeking missile. She just locks on to her target and she does not let them go, man. I hate being defended by her because I just can't get away. I can't get away from her. I'm like, go. I ran all the way over here. Stop following me. What are you doing?
I thought I killed her once the time she ran into me.
Yeah, that was bad. She's
so
very
bad.
tough. Again, she's a tough, gritty player. She got right back up.
All right. That's our team. I think it's going to be hard to beat. Clara, thank you very much for letting us interview you. I think we all learned a lot about you. You're sort of about, your upbringing, how competitive you are, how close you are to your family, all things that, in my opinion, make you a fantastic coach and role model. Before we go, do you have a quote or any words of advice for, our listeners at this time?
Yeah. Something I heard on a webinar the other day that really stuck with me was the quote, "Tough times don't last, tough people do." Yeah, that's really, I think that obviously relates to right now, a tough time, but also just for any time in sports or any time something is tough, you're confronted with an obstacle, just coming back to that, that inner toughness, that resilience is going to last a lifetime, while the challenge will not.
I think that's a fantastic way to end, Clara. Some absolutely fantastic advice at this time. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. We're going to do this on a weekly basis. Next week, we're going to have Coach Seb. So if you have any questions for Coach Seb, please send them into my email address. Also, for all you Blaine Soccer Club members, we have our skills competition going on at this time. If you want any information about that, it'll be on the newsletter section on our website. We have it in all our social media outlets. It's absolutely awesome. We have had so many people enter it, so many great skills. And
Awesome.
most importantly, the prize is tickets for your team to watch Minnesota United play.
The whole team.
Exactly.
Wow.
So thank you very much. Have a great week, and we will see you all next week. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.